Hello. A few years ago I made this model of the Ford GT90. It's based on the Maisto model. They are quite cheap to buy, and well, it lacked so much detail and precision that I thought, well, that's a fantastic opportunity to make it really shine. So I spent about a year working on this model, and I posted a video of the completed model, but I never made a how to build detail video. Luckily I had a lot of pictures on this backup drive of the build, also pictures of the original Maisto model, some detailing, and also a lot of pictures of the real car, not only the exterior, but I found pictures of the build, details, maintenance, and they were quite useful for me to make this model. So I think it's a good idea if I make a video of all those pictures together, show you a bit of the history of the model, show you some exciting detailing, and show you how I built this model step by step. I hope you enjoy it.
These are the pictures Ford presented to the world when the car was introduced. It's the Ford GT90. It's the new S design. There are some GT40 elements in it. It was built for $3 million in 6 months' time, and it was presented in January 1995 on the Detroit Auto Show. These taillights are quite interesting. They are LED. They have some LED lights in it. Spoiler was hydraulically operated with large arms. It had a swing arm system. Interesting on this picture are the V12 GT90 logo. It's a logo just in front of the rear tire. It's left and right, but on later models the V12 was missing. So the Maisto model does not have that V12. On the right hand side yes, but not on the left side. But this is how the prototype was. Somehow they were gone. This is the display in Detroit 1995. And interesting is that they showed how the lights were lit, especially the tail lights, and I'm using that for my model. It's a sort of a zigzag LED design. Only time I saw it here, it's shown in a video. You can find it here on YouTube. It's a very bad quality picture of it because it's an old video, and I'm using that for my model. These are the pictures from the Road and Track magazine. It was only tested, I think, by Top Gear and Road and Track. Didn't see any other tests coming. Interesting is a picture of the mirror where there's a warning light in it, and because this car had sensors and it was warning if you wanted to overtake, if you want to change the lanes, it warned that somebody was beside you. Here you can see the warning light. Very interesting. The mirror itself also has a triangular base, so I'm using that also in my model. This is interesting. This is the plate with all the signatures. It's much better quality, and the Maisto model has a very bad print, so I'm redoing this one. You can see the mesh, triangular mesh, very rare. Here you can also see the mesh. It's specifically made for this car. All small triangles, unbelievable, specially made. You can see the exhausts. These are pictures of the prototype building. You can see the Jaguar wheels, the Jaguar chassis. This is the chassis, aluminum honeycomb, and the engine was V12, specifically made for this car, and later used for Aston Martin. On this, the GT90, it had 4 turbos, 2 on each side. Very complicated tubing. You can see the big pipe and the small pipe, air in and air out from the compressor, and then the top one is air in for the air intake. You can see here the ignition modules with the blue leads, high tension leads, and also the carbon covers you can see in the model. This is the engine more naked, without the covers. And you can see the tubing, the big ones air in, then there's air out from the compressors to the intercooler, and then it's going to the air intake, which doesn't seem to be on this engine at the moment in this picture. I have a few pictures of the of the engine room. There are 3 instruments in the corner left to adjust the engine, because they didn't have the instruments working in the cabin. You can see the hinge of the spoiler arms, head of the engine, top of the engine, rocker covers, I don't know what, but it's this is normally invisible because there's a cover. Here you can see the intercooler in front of the rear tire, very bad place, but it's a prototype, who cares. Air filter in front of that, you can see it sucking air from the shoulder intake. Interesting picture of the gearbox and oil cooler together with the piping, and the spoiler arm goes through the shroud of the oil cooler. You can see it just on top, there is a cutout, and that's for the spoiler. Here you can see the third brake light and the reflector, and you also see the reflectors missing off the doors. And you can see the hinges of the rear window and the actuator. It's an hydraulically operated rear window. Here you can see the actuator, and you can see the mechanism, the levers for the rear window. Oh, cabin is a beauty. Lots of leather, Alcantara, aluminum, carbon. Look at the vinyl on the floor with the triangles. I'm going to do that in my model. Of course, exposed gear linkage supported by carbon. You can see a chassis member in aluminum, bare aluminum, like a spine running at the bottom. Polished aluminum, beautiful. This reminds me a little bit of a Pagani with the carbon, and look at those solid billet aluminum knobs and buttons. A polished or chromed gear stick. GT90 in the pedals. Special font for the instruments. It's a very unique font, couldn't find it anywhere, so I had made it myself. Of course, also the seat belts. This is interesting. This is the mirror, also with 2 small spokes, like a triangle. It's carbon mirror. I have to remake that. The key fob even is in triangle shaped. The horn button also in yellow, triangle, and also some aluminum buttons on the doors for the mirror. And you can see the selector box, and the markings of the gears are also on that gear. You can see it on that plate. Here's a good picture of how the pedestal is laying on top of the dashboard. And in the back you can see a strange fence of grit. This sort of grill is an air intake, it's in the door sills. It's usually covered by the door. I have a better picture of it in a moment. Here you can see it. You can see a sort of grill intake in the door sill. It's usually covered by the door, mostly. No idea what it does. You also can see here the support structure of the glass area. The glass is glued to a rollover bar system for safety, of course. So I have to build it as well. Well, this is how Maisto has it done. Lots of plastic, weird texture, very crude, like an elephant skin everywhere. Well, it just doesn't look right. The seats look terrible. The seat belts don't look right. All the aluminum parts are chromed, so it's the wrong color. Also flash everywhere. But the basic shape is fine. Here's the pedestal. The buttons or the knobs are terribly done. You see the how coarse, the texture is wrong of the dashboard. I need to sand that down. Also is the instruments have the wrong font, wrong speed, wrong color. So I have to do that as well. Also the other instruments are not filled in. The only good thing of this interior are the pedals. So Maisto did the GT90 in the pedals, but it's hardly visible because it's chromed, so there's a lot of chrome over the plastic. I think this is a very good feature. Well, engine similar, it's bad, it's just plastic. Doesn't do anything. It's not painted. You see a lot of tubing. Engine is blue, so we need to paint that. I mean, the color is right. This is the wiring, according to Maisto. Completely wrong. Should be the high tension leads. This is the signature plate. Completely wrong. It's light blue. It's too much. I have to replace that with a better decal. The GT90 V12 logo, you can see the specs in the paint. It's a poorly finished model. You can't, well, of course it's a cheap model. But I'm using this logo and then left and right. So I use this picture to make my decals. Here you can see also the sensors, very bad in a sort of sticker. The yellow triangle is the door opening. Fuel filler cap, too much chrome. I'm going to just paint that. Here I'm sanding down all that texture, so it should be more smooth. Yes, have to do the whole cabin, dashboard, pedestal, everything. Fill in all those big holes and drill new holes for new buttons. I'm using bijou pins for the buttons and knobs. Also removed all the chrome. As you can see, it's all now plain plastic and going to repaint it. It's fit and finish, have to fill in lots of gaps, position everything, and cutting the seats to get them back at better position for the seats. Very difficult to rub down. It's a sort of rubber material, so it took a lot of effort to rub down the texture. The era is the floor, making those triangles with plate, this plastic plate. Here you can see all the filling in all the gaps. Everywhere are gaps. So it's just a matter of making everything fit exactly. Here also on the left you can also see those small white blocks. I have some selectors behind the steering wheel also extended. Some detail on the engine, on the seats, which I ground down. Just have to make those new edges for the inserts of the seat belts. So small details. I'm extending the seats a little bit. Also fill in a few gaps behind the seats at the side, at the rear window. So just a big gap in the model. Here I'm redoing. You can see the pedals as it should be. This is the original mirror, de-chromed, and I only kept the mirror, and I made new stalks from metal. Well, these are the carbon decals I'm making, because there's a lot of carbon in this car. Interior parts, and of course I need clear coating. Then decals mating. I'm making new dials, and I'm making them smaller. These are the decals on decal paper. Here you can see the dials, and here they are inside the instruments and with varnish over it. So this is a steering wheel, new logo, yellow horn button. I also did the pedals, painted them, so it's now more subtle. Seat belts, it's a kit with photo etched parts, and well, when finished, this is how it looks. New decals on the seats, texture right, gloss finish or matte finish, depending on what material it is. So all the detailing is now correct, and now looks more like a cabin. Engine compartment busy. You can see the instruments left front. There's a small tank at the right, aluminum tank. I don't know what it is, but it should be there. Some filler caps, and then fill in the wiring. There's some wiring, the ignition modules with blue leads, which was shown in a picture. They're sitting 2 blocks in front of the engine. And there are also some hoses running. I have a picture of a detailed picture of the ignition modules on top of it's in front of the engine, sorry. And you can see them. You can see it's there's a module, and it has a number of leads going under the engine cover, under that carbon cover, to the spark plugs. Yeah, busy a little bit with highlighting the turbos, giving it a bit of a burnt accent. And then of course paint the rest of the engine. It's blue, and also some there's some bolt heads on the gearbox, and painted all the hoses and tubes. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's correct, but I just painted them. Gearbox, I built the rear of the gearbox and the oil cooler as good as I could, according to the pictures I had. This is a detail, just scratch built from plastic, here with the hoses and the tubing, and you can see the spoiler arms punching through. And this is the whole setup. It's two walls, and there's the hinge system of the spoiler mechanism just over the rear axle. These are the spoiler arms made from aluminum. The original one with these plastic ones, I cut them off and I made small gaps here in the spoiler, so I can glue the new arms in. Here I'm setting up the whole mechanism. I'm using small magnets to keep them up or down. Small magnets. Here you can see them in the up position, and this is the finished article. An arm sticking through the oil cooler. These are the calipers. There were no calipers, so I made them. Tires looked a bit deflated, so I put rubber bands inside, so you can see the right one is flat, the left one is looks if there's no air in it. And also I sanded them down, so right you can see by sanding them you get a bit of grain on it. Well, then it's a matter of adjusting the wheels, so they should sit good in the car should sit good on the tires. So busy with extending them, putting them more to the outside, stronger axles, small bushes. This is the finished articles, calipers, axles, and this is how the car sits. So good stance, very important. The whole canopy system was terrible. This is the old position for the mirror. I had to remove it and then sand the whole thing down, polish it, find the correct gaps. Took ages to get good gaps, lots of sanding. Then paint the stripes on the inside, very important, not on the outside. This is the side windows, also painted. Reflector in place, also on the doors reflector. So now you get that whole arch of reflectors. This is the inside structure for the canopy. A rollover bar system made from plastic tubing and spruce. You can see how the mirror also mounts to that. And then it's the matter of painting and gluing it to the glass. Here's a detailed picture of the mirror. This is the finished canopy plus structure. This is the rear window, also painted with two bolt heads on the outside and also hinges. A bit of detail of the rear window. Well, then it's the whole body sanded smooth, filled in gaps with plastic plate, small gaps. The gaps on the Maisto were not too big. And the rear spoiler has ugly studs, so I glued that in and cut that open, so now you get this whole air gap open and visible. These are holes for that strange air intakes in the door sills. Here this is the grill. It's a sort of triangle, small triangle shaped grills, and you can see the original from the photo and what I made of it. Shoulder intakes has a few holes which are not on the model, so I drilled those. Here you can see them. And of course it has to have a mesh. There's a mesh over it, as you can see here. That mesh was originally white. Later on the model it was black, but I'm keeping it white. This is the engine compartment. Removed lots of metal. There was a big metal wall. I removed it. This is the front. Put some plates in it so to make a duct, a real duct. So lots of open gaps. Well, here is it setting up the model, seeing if everything is okay. Last dents and damages, repair everything, so it's smooth as silk. Then it's prepping for paint, so it's setting up on I made this setup, and then of course degreasing it and then putting it in primer, and then a few coats of white. Also put a small pearl over it. It's not original, but I like it because it gives a bit more shine to the white. And then decals added. You can see the V12 GT90 decals, also homemade. You can see the shine of the pearl, and then here of course clear coated. Then the lights, tail lights. I removed the stud. I filled in the position where the lights come. This is to mimic the indicator. It's normal orange, but I don't have that, so it should do. I try to do that snake design of the LEDs with an aluminum plate like this. It's sitting inside, so you get a little bit of that snake-like LED shape. Front light, left original and right what I made of it, just to fill in the gap in the body. And right is the lights I made, left is original. Just all scratch built with aftermarket parts and chromed. Yeah, so make some glass plates for the spotlights in the bumper, so that because they originally are too small, so I need to make some bigger ones. And this is the whole setup of the lights, tail lights, front lights with the spots, glass which is sitting inside, very difficult to do, but it's glued into the body. And then you have the lower glass and the spotlights. Then we get to the mirror. The mirror hole was too big, so I made it smaller, filled it in. Here's the mirror sitting. Here's the mirror sitting. I did it, I made a little bit, thinned it, and of course painted, chromed feet, and here's the shoulder intake, painted white mesh. Also some, yeah, it's all detailing now. It's spoilers, it's the exhaust, the logos, mesh for the rear. You can see a better picture of the exhaust. Of course, used small metal pipes to mimic the exhaust. Lots of polishing to give shine. Here are those grills. Glued in the rear tail lights, mesh, everything glued in. Here is the rear window and the spoiler dispositioned. Here also fuel filler cap glued in. Here all the lights, and there's some mesh for the brake duct, I think. Here's the Ford logo. Well, this is a final assembly, checking everything. And then the body is on top, then glue in the side windows and the door cards. And then there's that rear spoiler glued in. And the last bit is the big spoiler. You can see the arms are sticking out. Here's the spoiler glued on the arms. And then of course the last bit is the mirrors. And now it's finished. These are the last pictures of the model on my desk. So I have a few pictures left where I show the model. I mean, it was a lot of work. Very proud of it. If you want to buy it, I'm not going to sell it to nobody. I'm not selling my models, I just keep them because I find them fascinating cars. And last bit is I have a number of pictures for you with some music, which I made a gallery of. So I hope you like it. Thanks for watching.